Hey everyone, welcome back to Casual Watch Review channel. I might have told a few porcupines on one of the live streams where I said I was going to scale back doing a lot of micro brands this year and just stick to some of the main brands for the channel. But in my defense, I did agree to review this one last year and the prototype has just turned up. It's from a company called Ubiqu, UBIQ. Hopefully I'm saying that right. It's a micro brand out of Singapore and it's a pretty impressive value proposition, this watch. This is a prototype, so there's a lot of little quirks with it that we'll go over. But look at that green. It even comes in a lime green travel case. The box is also pretty special. I think they've done a good job of this, but as with all of these, it's you that lets me know in the comment section down below what you think of this watch. Enough of me chatting, let's flip the camera around and we'll dive straight in. Here is the Ubiqu, hopefully I'm saying that right. This particular launch model is going to be called the Jewel. I'm guessing because of the way that the bezel is laid out. And just to point out, this is a prototype and will be getting sent back to them. And thankfully it is a prototype because no matter how good this watch looks, there is one thing that would make it unwearable for most. More on that later. Each of these watches includes the stainless steel bracelet and an additional FKM rubber strap, which is color matched here to the outside of the bezel. The watches also include a custom crafted pouch here in a very striking lime green. The box is also very impressive. Reminds me of one of those pop-up cards. Clearly a skilled graphic designer has had a field day with this one. The color palette used on the box matches the watch's aesthetic perfectly, and hopefully the full production ones get this very cool box also, and it's not just for these prototypes. I requested to see the prototype of the Apple Sour, and I have to say it's an impressive color combination. There are 5 colorways in total. This one has dark and light green on the bezel that work really well together and contrast nicely against the flat grey of the dial. The watch, you could argue, is the perfect size for most. 39mm case, 47mm from lug to lug, and 11.8mm thick, which is impressive considering this is a 200-meter dive watch. This 11.8mm thickness also includes the raised sapphire flat crystal that they've added an inner AR coating to. As you'd expect, the case is 316L stainless steel with an aluminium sandblasted bezel insert. No ceramic here, but no one will miss it because of how cool this bezel looks. The bezel is unique because it features both 12-hour markings to track a different time zone and also has the markings for it to be used as a countdown bezel. I'm guessing there must be some other watch that has had this combination of, but I don't recall ever seeing one before. It's a simple but useful feature. The bezel is slightly stiff, the bezel action on here, but it does have a satisfying premium feel. The coin edge makes it easy to grip and the insert is also loomed. The dial is nicely executed with what the designers are calling inflated squares and rectangles on the indices. This makes it look like it's a square that's been slightly overinflated, so slightly fatter on the sides, I guess. I don't mind the look of these, and the effort to match the date window in with this style is interesting, although this prototype seems to have slightly misaligned date window, as you can see the next date slightly if you look side on. I'm sure this will be corrected in the full production, as they've gone to a lot of effort of having a custom date wheel made, so to miss the fact that you can see the next date slightly is a clumsy mistake that I'm sure they will be corrected, because I can't imagine that the attention to detail they paid on the rest of the watch they would have missed something like that. The dial text is kept simple. C1 green lumen over is used for the hands and bezel, and then BGW9 blue for the indices. The hands are quite unique with a colour matched hour hand, and also the tip of the second hand has the same green to tie the whole design language of the watch together. It's certainly a unique looking handset, so I'm interested to know what you think in the comment section down below. I think I'm warming to them. The brush bracelet is a nice touch also and is easily adjusted using screw-in links. There is no quick adjust or diver's extension on the clasp, but you do have 5 positions of micro adjust. The bracelet is well made and feels solid, similar to a Laurier bracelet if you've ever seen one of those. It can almost lay completely flat on the table due to the excellent articulation of the links. The watch wears very comfortably because of this articulation and the female end links, meaning smaller wrists will probably find a good fit with this also. Here you can see it on my 7.2 inch wrist. We also also have a milled clasp, adding to the overall quality feel of the bracelet. The production ones will have more of a refined female end link to reduce the gap that we can see here on the prototype. The bracelet tapers from 20 to 16 mil, and you have the option to quick change to the rubber strap because both have quick release. Case is nicely machined with an engraved case back and has a 200-meter water resistance, partially thanks to the screw down crown. But there is one massive deal breaker for me, and I'm sure most people, something I'm assured will be corrected in the production one. There is a cutout on the side of the case where you can see the sandblasted detail. I can see what they're going for here, but the machining on this prototype is totally off. The transition from the inset sandblasted part to the polished part is so sharp, it's almost impossible to wind the watch without taking a skin graft off your finger and thumb. I get that this is a prototype, but I'm amazed that it left the factory like this, honestly. A total fail, unfortunately. Looks good, but it's so sharp, the transition, it's like rubbing your fingers on a cheese grater. I did check this because it is such a glaring issue with the case, and I was assured that it will be corrected. And I trust that they will do this because there's clearly a lot of attention to details being put into the rest of the watch. While we're on the improvements, there are also a few more things that will be getting corrected before production. There's going to be an improved QC on the bezel printing, smoothing of the case profile chamfers, as we've just discussed. An additional polish finishing is going to be added to the crown. There's going to be text and color updates on the packaging, which is no big deal, but the one thing that is interesting is they're going to reduce the thickness from 11.8 to 11.5 millimeters, and they're also going to shorten those female end links, as we previously discussed. The jewel is going to release in 5 unique colorways, and this is something that I think really stands out about this watch. Their very bold choice of color. The initial launch will be as a Kickstarter, and that Kickstarter will run from the 1st to the 29th of February. The launch edition price is going to be $519, which is 20% off the full retail price, which is going to be $649. Each colorway is limited to 100 individually launch edition pieces to mark the first collection, and they're supposed to have these made and shipped by June, so quite a tight timeline. $519 I think is a decent price for what you get here, but let me know in the comments section what you think. The watch is using the Miyota 9015, so right there in line with other watches that use this movement, and as you know, I prefer these mid-range Miyota movements over the equivalent Seiko ones. As always, let me know what you think in the comments section down below. If you're new to the channel, I'd love it if you hit that subscribe button and thumbs up. If you want to get involved in the conversation live, join us over on one of the live streams. I suggest the Sunday Social. That's our biggest show. That's at 4:30 Eastern on a Sunday. Thanks for watching. See you next time on Casual Watch Reviews.